Hello, hello. How's everyone doing tonight? We are here for episode 4, which is self-care and wellness. Filling your cup first. Now, many would hear that and think that sounds selfish, but you also hear the you can't pour from an empty cup, right? So if your cup doesn't have anything in it, you cannot serve or help anyone else. So you do need to fill your cup up first before you can help someone else, take care of somebody else, or do anything for anyone else, right? So some points we're going to talk about today is, so let me start by asking you, when was the last time you did something just for you? There was no other agenda involved. It was just you did something for you. When was the last time? Think back to that and let me know. If you're always pouring into everyone else, but your cup feels empty, this episode is for you. How many of us can relate to that? Always doing stuff, and we already discussed the empty cup. So if your cup's always empty, then stick around. You're going to want to hear this. Why self-care isn't selfish? It's survival. That helps us survive, right? There's different types of self-care. So it's physical, emotional, spiritual, and social. So when we say self-care, everyone thinks about like going to get your hair done, going to get your nails done, maybe a massage, but there is different types of self-care. Again, physical, emotional, spiritual, and social. There is some quick self-care wins for busy moms. I talk about this quite often as, 5 minutes is important. So if all you can get in is 5 minutes of self-care time, then that's what you need to do. If you can get in 5 minutes in the morning and 5 minutes in the evening, then you've got 10 minutes. If you can get in five more minutes sometime throughout the day, then you're doing real good, right? So there is some different things that we can discuss. Like I said, even 5-minute moments, very important. And it's not only for busy moms, that could be for someone who takes care of somebody, a caretaker that's constantly going. If you just get that 5-minute breather. Wellness check-in, it is how to notice when you're running on empty. So we got to be able to know that and gauge that. So it's kind of like the gas gauge in our car, right? We have to be able to know how we're feeling and know when we're running on empty and when it's time to refuel, right? When it's time to take that time for your self-care. We can't just keep on running on empty. That's like our cars don't run on empty. Our cars are going to stop when that gas is out, right? Or for those who have the EV cars, when that battery's out, that car's going to stop. So you have to charge it. We are the same way. We have to charge ourselves. So through our self-care and different wellness tips, that's what we need to do. And number 5 is faith connection. So God calls us to rest and care for our bodies as his temple. So that's something we should always be having in the back of our mind, is that God calls us to rest. And if you think back in the Bible, on the 7th day, God rested. So if he rested, then why shouldn't we? We need to, he took that Sabbath day and that's what he done. He did all his work the other 6 days. That 7th day was his rest day. So why do we go 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, or like I said, 366 on leap year? Why do we continue to go and we don't allow ourselves our rest time, our self-care time, our time to relax? I know we're busy. Like I said, we get our calendars and we book them. And sometimes, I told you guys yesterday, don't let nobody put anything in your calendar That's your calendar, and you have the option to say no. So you control that calendar. But and I'm talking to myself here, I'm really bad about keep on adding more and more and more. How can I fit this in? How can I fit this in? So I was doing that just tonight. Earlier today, I was trying to figure out how I can take another appointment. And I was like, there's just no reason. There's no reason to. So now if you are, let's start with this. So if you've ever sacrificed sleep for someone else, maybe it was they needed you, maybe they called you on the phone, whatever it was. But if you've ever sacrificed sleep for somebody else, so you should have been sleeping, maybe it was a friend called you up and needed to talk. Maybe she came to your house. He or she came to your house. Maybe something like that. There's different reasons. Maybe someone needs you to take them somewhere when you should have been sleeping. If you've ever sacrificed sleep to please someone else, drop me a 1 in the comments. May not be a big one, but that's something that's breaking a boundary of yours, right? You should be sleeping, and you sacrificed your sleep, right? Here's a good one. Put a heart if you are overdue for some me time. So if you know you have not, I asked you guys when was the last time you took time for yourself. And if you have not, or you can't think of when the last time was, you need to schedule that me time. Put that on your calendar, right? So some of the reasons why we don't do this, we don't schedule our wellness time, our self-care time. I'm going to say 5 main factors. One's going to be a guilt factor. We feel like if we take time for ourselves, we're taking time away from someone else, right? So many people, especially parents and caregivers, feel guilty when they take time for themselves, as if self-care is selfish, but it's not. I can remember when John was in the hospital, and I try to be at the hospital all the time. But there was times I had, nail appointments or something, and I went, but I felt guilty. Like I really felt guilty because I knew I should have been at the hospital there with him. But I did go because my appointments are hard to get. So I already had those appointments. So I did go, but, and I felt better because that was time that I was doing some self-care. So I was doing, so I felt better, but I still felt guilty. So I think that's how a lot of us are, is that we know we need to do it, but that guilt factor gets us. And it shouldn't, because it's going to be okay. It's going to be fine. And then also, so number 2 is going to be time constraints. Again, that calendar, right? We have the same everyone has the same 24 hours a day, but how we, what we put in that calendar and how we book it, everyone's different. So busy schedules, work, school schedules, school obligations, family obligations, church obligations, homework, such busy schedules. I see that all the time, and you guys, are probably tired of hearing it, but it's just the truth. Everything else is on the calendar, but the self-care gets put to the bottom, and that's what gets, taken off the calendar, because we don't have time for it, because we have all this that we've already booked, and then at the end of the night, we're done. Like, we don't have time for that. So, it's always on the bottom of the to-do list. And that's why it always, they always say, if you make a to-do list and you don't complete stuff, that's what needs to go on the top of the to-do list the next day. So let's say you said, hey, I want to get my nails painted tomorrow. Even if it's you sitting in your living room and you painting them, and let's say that you didn't get that done today, then that should be the first thing you do tomorrow. So whatever you put on your to-do list, and that's not what you don't get done, you know, especially if it is the self-care things that's in the bottom of the list that doesn't, you know, you hadn't got done. Put that on the top for tomorrow. That's the first thing you do, is you're going to take care of yourself. You know, so you may not get it done today. Maybe on your list, maybe you didn't get it done today, but put that on your list for tomorrow. First thing you do. So number 3, hi Aunt Sue, hi Alicia. Thanks for joining. Number 3 is all or nothing mindset. So people think self-care has to be big. Again, I said this in a previous video, you know, thinks it has to be a, you know, massage or spa day, you know, nails, hair, all that. It doesn't have to be big. It could be simple, small daily habits. It could be something simple as, I'm going to take 10 minutes today and shave my legs. I'm going to take, you know, 10 minutes and I'm going to put a mask on my face and, you know, hydrate my face better. I'm going to do the under the eye things, or maybe I'm going to do, you know, a manicure myself, or maybe I'm going to do put the foot booties on and, or have my foot in a foot bath, you know, for 15, 20 minutes or something. So it could be something very small. And like I said, it doesn't have to even cost money. It's not something that you have to spend, you know, money on. Some people don't have that money, and that's perfectly okay. You can do things at home and still get your self-care in. Like I said, it could be as simple as, you know, hey, I'm going to lock myself in the bathroom for 15 minutes, and I'm going to get in the bathtub and I'm going to, you know, relax in the bathtub. Or like I said, I'm going to get in the shower and I'm going to shave my legs, you know, really good. It could be something just like that. Some people don't even have time for that, you know, so it could be, like I said, something so simple. It doesn't have to be, um, expensive spa day, massage, you know, all that stuff. Not at all. So that's the all or nothing mindset. So number 4 is the comparison trap. So seeing others post perfect, you know, wellness routines on social media, you know, anytime we see something on social media, we have that comparison. Oh, they have it all together type of thing. And it's discouraging for us if we don't have that. But we don't need to do that comparison thing. Social media is good for many things, but it's awful. It's bad when we start doing that comparison. Seeing how someone else does something and we can't match that. That's not what it should be. Self-care looks different for everyone. Everyone's needs are different. So, you know, don't compare your self-care routine to somebody else, or how much time you have to spend on self-care with somebody else. So don't pay attention to that stuff on social media, because it's not, like I said, everyone's self-care is different. It's different for everybody. So that comparison thing, it gets us every time. You know, you look at somebody's, you know, living room and you're like, oh, their living room is so much better. They have you know, their kitchen is done so much better. Well, you know, that's not, the whole comparison thing, that's crazy. And we all do it. You know, we don't all live Pinterest and Instagram lives. So, we need to quit comparing ourselves to other people and other people's lives, because that's not, they may have the perfect house, but maybe their life is not, they don't have love in their house, or maybe they don't have, you know, so let's not just quit comparing. Quit it. We need to quit it. Quit it. And so number 5 is neglecting mental wellness. So self-care is often confused with only physical health, so exercise, eating better, but mental and emotional wellness matter too. So taking time to rest, just rest. We're not getting up, we're not changing laundry, we're not doing none of that. So just taking the time just to rest. Maybe your prayer time. Maybe you like to write in a journal, so just writing in your journal, taking that time to sit down and write in the journal. Maybe it's the first thing you do in the morning. Get up before everyone else gets up, the family gets up, the kids get up. Maybe you're just spending 10 minutes writing in your journal. Maybe it's after everyone goes to bed. And you're staying up an extra 10 minutes just to write in that journal. That is self-care. That's taking care of you. Maybe it's just a phone call with a friend, you know, not the phone call of, you know, the gossipy phone call, none of that. Maybe it's just, you know, calling and just chit-chatting. Hey, how was your day today? You know, what do you have going on? Whatever. But just sometimes talking to a friend. For me, it's talking to my sister on the phone. So just taking that time to do that. Like I said, me and my sister's conversation ended up being hours and hours, but it could be just a simple 15-minute phone call. Maybe you're calling to check on somebody. Maybe they're calling to check on you. Maybe you're just hopefully not playing phone tag. Maybe it's just, like I said, a quick conversation. How was your day? Something like that. And sometimes that's all we need. Otherwise, like I said, it's, let's take time to just rest. Maybe it's praying, writing in a journal, reading a book. So if you're a reader, just get in a chair and read for 15, 20 minutes, 10 minutes. Like I said, whatever you got. Sometimes busy, sometimes 5 minutes is all we got, but that's okay. So I'm going to recap those real quick. So some of the things that keep us from doing self-care is going to be the guilt factor, taking time away from somebody, either our children, husband, whoever we care for, if we're caregivers, time constraints, everything else on the calendar, but our own self-care. The all or nothing mindset, thinking it has to be something huge and big, and it doesn't have to. The comparison trap, comparing the way we do our self-care to somebody else's. And then, of course, neglecting the mental wellness. So just not actually the physical health. So not going to the gym, not the eating healthy, but just actually pretty much what I call winding down. Just sitting down in a chair, and like I said, it could be just 10 minutes of TV time. Sometimes you don't have time to watch TV. So if you're a TV watcher, maybe it's just sitting down in the chair for 10 minutes and watching, a half of an episode of something. That's perfectly okay. If that's how you want to spend your self-care. Like I said, just mainly just pulling yourself away from everything. Okay. We're gonna get into, I'll try to wrap this one up. It's late here. It's already 11:30 here, so it is late here in Tennessee. I'm gonna read something really fast before I let you guys go. So, self-care, using that time for self-care, it has a great impact on your self-esteem. So when you set and maintain healthy boundaries, you demonstrate self-respect and self-worth. This act reinforces your belief that you deserve to be treated well, which can significantly boost your self-esteem. Controversial, weak boundaries can lead to feelings of worthlessness and resentment, negatively impacting your self-esteem. Practice self-care. Setting boundaries is a form of self-care. Prioritize your well-being by ensuring that your boundaries are respected. We talked about people respecting your boundaries the other day. So prioritize your well-being by ensuring your boundaries are respected. This practice reinforces your self-worth and helps you build healthier relationships. Understanding the interplay between self-esteem and boundaries is vital for personal growth and healthy relationships. By setting clear boundaries, you not only protect your emotional well-being, but also enhance your self-esteem, leading to more fulfilling interactions with others. Remember, establishing boundaries is a skill that takes practice, so be patient with yourself as you learn and grow. Thought that was very good, how it relates the self-care to your self-esteem. So when you take time for yourself, like I said, even if it's just sitting down watching TV for 10 minutes, you take time, you're resting, decompressing, that helps your self-esteem. And then again, your cup's not empty. You're refilling your cup. Like I said, if you can get a couple of those, 10 minutes in a day, here and there, then pretty soon your cup's going to be overflowing, and then you can pour into others, okay? Okay. So give me a thumbs up if you're ready to start making you a priority. You are a priority. You need to make yourself a priority, okay? Again, you can't pour from an empty cup. Start small, start today, and remember, taking care of you is one of the best gifts that you can give your family or friends. Taking care of you. Remember that, okay? I'm going to hop off here, and I will see you guys tomorrow for episode 5. I don't know what it's going to be about, so come find out. Hang out with me, okay? Talk to you guys soon. Thank you for watching. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.